Just for the record, I reviewed this movie before slap happy Will Smith slapped Chris Rock for a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith, so just because I'm reviewing a movie with her in it is purely coincidental. Collateral is a 2004 character based crime drama directed by Michael Mann, starring Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, and is an absolute masterpiece. This film came out the same year as Ray, also starring Jamie Foxx, and it kind of overshadowed his performance in this movie, which, don't get me wrong, I love Ray. I think it's one of the best musician biopics ever made, but I think he gave a better performance in this film. And this film may be Michael Mann's crowning achievement as a filmmaker. This was a lightning in a bottle type situation. There's no waste in this movie. Every scene is important. The dialogue's important. Every scene even helps lead into the next scene. Even the placement of music in this movie, it just comes in at the perfect time. The plot is extremely simple. Jamie Foxx is a cab driver. He picks up Tom Cruise as a fare, and he's like, hey, I got to make these runs. I'll pay you, in addition to your cab fare, I'll pay you 700, like 700 to make these stops and wait for me, plus an extra 100 if I don't have to run to catch the plane at LAX. So Jamie Foxx is like, you know what, I'm not allowed to do this, but why not? And it turns out that Tom Cruise, who plays the character of Vincent, is really a hitman killing people, and Max, played by Jamie Foxx, is actually understandably terrified about this. The movie begins simply. We see the beginning of both guys' journey. Tom Cruise getting a package at LEX that was given to him by Jason Statham, and that's his hit information. Jamie Foxx coming to work, getting his cab ready, and the boss like kind of giving him a disapproving stare, which comes into play later in the film. First, he takes Jada Pinkett Smith to a building. She's a lawyer. She actually gives him her phone number because she's impressed that he argued to save her money on the cab fare. And this all comes into play later. He picks up Tom Cruise next, and it leads to a body hit by Tom Cruise falling out a window and hitting the cab. And now it's not only a case of you do my stops for the night, you're going to make money. It's if you do my stops for tonight, not only will you make a few dollars, not only will I let you live, but you're going to make a few dollars. And as we get to know Jamie Foxx, he has dreams of opening his own cab company, Island Limos, which he clearly, it's just a dream. He's not really doing anything to make it happen. And what makes this story so great, it's just the dialogue exchange between Vincent and Max, where it's like Vincent, despite being a cold blooded killer and he has no remorse, he clearly takes a liking to Max. And it's like he's pushing him to go after, take the things you want, take control of your life. There's even scenes where Max does things like calls people over while Vincent's in a building, and there's a other things he does to be defiant towards Vincent, and where Vincent probably should just kill him outright. Vincent doesn't do it. You can tell Vincent does clearly like him, and one of the best scenes is, well, first of all, I want to reference the boss. We get that later. They get pulled over by the cops, and they lie and say the cab's been hit by a deer, and the cab driver, I mean, the owner gets on the radio, and he's like talking down to Max. Vincent takes the radio and pretty much stands up for him, and even hands him the radio and, like, tell him off. like he's encouraging Max to stand up for himself. And that comes into play later. He gets back on the radio again, and it's Max's mother. They go to the hospital. Vincent even buys her flowers, and you see like a budding sibling rivalry. And Max grabs the briefcase, runs, throws it over a bridge, and Vincent's like, okay, now you're going to help me get a flash drive with the rest of my hits, but you're going to do what I say, because if you mess me up, I'm not only going to kill you, but I'm going to kill your mother on my way out of town. But again, he probably would have been best to kill Max there, but he clearly likes him. Why this is going on, there's a police officer played by Mark Ruffalo investigating the shootings, and he's starting to realize there's more to this. And it just keeps playing off. Each scene, it's like making a building almost, a skyscraper. Everything has to be purposely done for it to come together, and Michael Mann did it masterfully. Even the cinematography in this film is amazing. No one can shoot a city at night quite like Michael Mann. In the city in this film, it makes LA look beautiful, which is saying a lot. I don't want to be caught dead in Los Angeles, let alone California, but he shoots it in such a beautiful way, but also in such a ominous way. The city at times looks and feels like a predator. The city is as much a character in this movie as Vincent and Max are. And just the shots with them in the cab and kind of the more low budget digital camera that's like looks handheld at times, it gives the city this very oppressive, predatory feel to it that works for the movie. And it's this down and dirty, gritty cinema style that you just don't see anymore. And it just works perfectly for this movie. Like I said, it was just a cases of lightning in a bottle, lightning in a bottle, lightning in a bottle. And there's one scene in particular, I think it hits this, it's like the best scene in this movie. There's a scene where they're talking back and forth, and it goes into silence as Vincent and Max watch two coyotes cross the road. One's faster, the other's more slow and deliberate. I've seen interpretations of people saying the first coyote represents Max, the second one represents Vincent. Why I don't think that's wrong, I also think that when they both look at them, Vincent looks at the coyotes with respect. He sees a predator like himself, and he has respect for what they're capable of. Where Max, he looks at the coyotes and there's almost a sorrowful look in his eyes. He sees the freedom he wishes he had. And then Shadow of the Sun by Audioslave starts playing, and it's like at the perfect moment, and it just amplifies this scene. There is something about this scene that is just very raw and primal, and it hits you on an emotional level, but you cannot quite put your finger on what the emotion you're feeling is. Perfect use of music, much like the nightclub scene, where it has this more frantic music, or after the scene with Javier Bardem from No Country for Old Men, which I think this movie and that one could exist in the same universe, where Max is sent in to pose as Vincent to get the thumb drive, and as he works out, this great piece of music plays that amplifies the scene. But then we get to, again, one of the best parts of the movie, where they're talking in Vincent's philosophy. In 50 years, no one's going to remember these people, and they're criminals. What does it matter if I kill them? So Max starts pressing Vincent for questions, and we see Vincent for the first time starting to get uncomfortable. Then he's like, Max, like, he starts speeding. And on this scene, the same song by Audioslave kicks in. Vincent's holding a gun to his head, and Max is like, go ahead, do it. Go ahead, do it. You kill me, you're killing yourself too. And he's taking control of his life for the first time. And we have a reverse where Max is finally the one with all the power, and Vincent has nothing. He knows Vincent doesn't want to die, so he's kind of got all the cards right now. It ends with a great chase scene with Max trying to save Jada Pinkett Smith and a shootout on a train car. And what I love about this is we do see that Vincent will do something if there's a point. Him and Max get into a shootout, and when Vincent gets hit, he just drops the magazine to the gun. He probably did it on purpose. He realized he's been hit, and he's like, I'm going to die. I'm not going to be able to collect the money. This is over for me. There's no point in killing them anymore. And even though there is a dialogue exchange between them, there's a moment where they just sit down and stare at one another, and it's like a silent goodbye and show of respect. This movie, I just absolutely love. It's a masterpiece. This movie's all about the characters and interaction. There's even a scene that kind of, I wonder if the coin flip in Country for Old Men inspired this or the book or something, but it feels similar, where Vincent offers one person an opportunity to leave town if he answers a question correctly. He gets it wrong, so Vincent kills him. But like I said, I do feel both those movies can exist easily in the same universe, and that's going to be in my next review. Collateral, I'm giving an A+. It's a masterpiece. If you have not seen this movie, check it out. I really don't think you will be disappointed. Everything from the acting, the music, there's no wasted anything in this movie. Even the camera movements are precise and to the point. The camera is exactly where it needs to be, or pans exactly how it needs to pan. This is a very tight, efficient movie that was probably made as much in the editing room as on the camera, even though Michael Mann is a very efficient director who doesn't do a lot of waste. He doesn't shoot something unless he's pretty sure he's gonna use it. And wow, it shined through in this film. This came out the year I actually graduated high school. This came out in August 2004, and although I would like to upgrade to the Blu-ray, I have an old Blockbuster copy, so I'm in no hurry to let this DVD go by the wayside. It's Blockbuster, and that's kind of a nostalgic thing. This movie does take me back to that time in my life, even if the movie does have a timeless feel to it. So, have you seen this movie? What are your thoughts on it? Do you want to see it? Like, share, comment, subscribe, and if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a simple premise that does amazing things. And that's one of the great things about films. Sometimes all you need is just a simple premise to do something magical. So check it out and be on the lookout for No Country for Old Men, which I'm going to review next. And I might or might not do a discussion of the two movies, because they do have interesting things to say. So like, share, comment, subscribe, over and out.